Hey everyone, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing driving external traffic to Amazon's listings using influencers. This is a topic that everybody wants to know. We're also going to be talking about why is external traffic the key for organic Amazon growth in 2024. What are some of the challenges with influencer marketing, especially with micro influencers? And why are influencers one of the best ways to push external traffic? Okay, guys, welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
Okay, we're back live today. Just got back, and today we are going to be talking about driving external traffic to Amazon listings using influencers. Our guest is a 6-time founder, 7-figure Amazon seller, and the co-founder and CMO of Stack Influence. And Stack Influence is the leading micro influencer marketing platform for Amazon merchants. He has been featured in Forbes, Business Insider, and Wired for his thoughts on the influencer industry and Amazon marketing ecosystem. So we're going to be welcoming William Gasner for the first time on Lunch with Norm today. But first, let's have a word from the sponsor.
Are you looking to quickly boost new Amazon product launches or scale up existing listings to reach first page positioning? The influencer program Stack Influence can help. Stack Influence pushes high volume external traffic sales to Amazon listings using micro influencers that you only have to pay with your product. They've also helped up and coming brands like Magic Spoon compete with Cheerios for top category positioning, while also helping Fortune 500 brands like Unilever launch their new products. And remember, September is one of the best times to get started with Stack Influence for preparation for October Prime Day and the holiday season. So sign up today at stackinfluence.com or click the link below and mention Norm and you'll get 10% off your first campaign.
All right, we are back, and let's bring on the boy Blunder.
Hey, Norm, how's it going?
Hey. I saw you all week.
I know.
All weekend.
You sick of me yet?
Well, kind of. But I can handle you for another hour.
All right. For those of you who don't know, we were in Austin for the BDSS Market Masters think tank, hosted by Kevin King. So we just
see that 7 times.
Yeah, it is a doozy. We just got back. It was a 4-day event, and I don't know if you want to talk a bit about it and your experience there.
Yeah. Kevin always puts on a great event, and anything BDSS, it's always high level. And this one was very different. And what I would say is I would recommend anybody who is having some issues with their company, with selling. It doesn't have to necessarily be on Amazon, but even business in general. It was pretty unique. I know I wasn't expecting to go in there and learn a lot. I was on a lot of the panels, and I thought I'd be just spouting off some, knowledge, and that was not the case at all. First of all, I think there was probably around 20 Dream 100 there and other experts. So there was a hot seat. So somebody sat in there, and it was different. Every one of these were different. There was 12 different hot seats. They were surrounded by anywhere from 6 to 8 experts in the industry. And then there was an introduction, an hour-long question period, and then an hour-long solution period, and a moderator that kept everything under control. And wow, I really couldn't believe the information and the quality of the information that came out. And people were sitting there going, "Oh, I want to talk about this." And as soon as you heard their issue, it was like, "No, you don't. You got to solve this first." And they walked out of there with straightforward, actionable solutions. And also, if anybody need further information, I know that there was a bunch of people there that I heard say, "Hey, just contact me and I'll show you how to do X," which was really cool. So typical Kevin fashion, everybody started out at what's not a Michelin star. There's no Michelin stars at restaurants in Texas, but we went to this incredible restaurant, Kelsey. It was Kelsey. It was awesome. Kelsey couldn't go, and he's a foodie. So I was sending him pictures of empty dishes that I was that we had. But again, if you haven't done this, it's so great because just being able to not only go out there and talk to people, but I've always said this, you really don't get to know anybody unless you break bread with them and talk story. And it doesn't necessarily have to be business. We found this out at the Collective Mind Society and also this. So I don't know if he's going to do it again, but if he does, guys, go. It was I don't know. You sat in on some and you got to see how it went.
Yeah, they were hot seat too. This wasn't like,
Oh, but
here's
like
a suggestion. It
people
was
crying, kind of,
yeah, it was
depending on who the person was that was ripping them.
really taking real advice and
Mm.
what was best for the company that they might not be seeing with themselves, and taking that outside perspective. And I think it was really helpful. Like, they're tears, but I think they're happy tears because it was like, I can see what's going on in my business now and like the direction that I'm going. So
Yeah,
it
I
was,
just blew my life savings on squat. Well, you better, give it up. But I mean, it was that serious. I know one person. I'm not mentioning any names, but he sat there, and at the end of it, he put this in a testimonial. He didn't want to talk to anybody. He wanted to go, and he just wanted to think about life, like what he did and how he can implement. And he says it in the testimonial. I mean, it's not all butterflies and unicorns. Uh, it was tough, a really tough pill for him to swallow, but now he's got the information. Not only will he be a better seller, but his brand will should be able to recover and grow fairly rapidly. So I think that's enough to spend on it. I just wanted to say that if you have a chance, these aren't recorded. Nobody gets notes. Nobody's allowed to record or bring your phone in there. We use a something called Applaud. It's a note taker, and only one person gets the notes, and that's the person in the hot seat. So check it out next time. It's the BDSS Master Marketing Masters think tank. Okay, now let's get into this. Kelsey, I thought you were going to come back, Kelsey. So why don't we do this? If you have any questions or comments, throw it in the comments section. Now sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee. Where is that, William? That's what it was supposed to be. Hey, William, how are you?
I'm doing well, Norm. Thanks for having me.
Oh, good. Today we're going to be talking about some pretty cool things. And this is something that was, I think everybody on the tops, on the hot seats were talking about. I think at least all the ones that I was sitting in on, everybody talked about influencers, the way that they're doing it wrong. How do you do it right? And it's a hot topic. I still don't understand the people that are not using influencers, because it is such a big deal in the Amazon marketplace to drive traffic, external traffic to your sites. But I think people think it's complicated.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest reason why people aren't using them. And, we got Steve, we got Simon, we got Marina, and we got a whole bunch of other people listening right now. But, if you guys want to pipe in and just let us know, if you're not using influencers, why you aren't. I'm curious to hear that. But, well, then why don't we start with that? It's a lucrative part of business, especially on Amazon. Why do you think some people are ignoring this?
My true belief, and after talking with a lot of sellers who I'm surprised every day I talk to new sellers who have never gone into the influencer world at all. And the bottom line is, I think there's a lot of different ways to slice it, right? And people don't really know where to start, right? Like influencer marketing was birthed from the larger celebrity influencers of the world. And understandably, most sellers, that's unattainable. You're not going to pay Kim Kardashian $1 million to promote your product unless you're extremely successful, right? But what I think a lot of people don't realize is that influencer marketing has become much more accessible with smaller creators, and that you can do it in an effective way by aggregating these smaller creators with only even a few thousand followers, and even paying them with just your product, right? Without even paying them much monetary compensation. And you can do that by just DMing a few people that you find on Instagram, searching in the Amazon influencer marketplace. Some people will do stuff just for a commission without even sending them a product, right? Just affiliate stuff. So it's become much more efficient now and accessible. But why people haven't started is I think they just don't know where to start. And some people just go to tools, and some tools are really, really expensive to also access. So they're like looking at these expensive tools, looking at these expensive celebrity influencers, and they're like, I didn't know that I could actually just give my product away or DM someone on Instagram and actually get this started, right? So I think that's where the hesitation comes into play, and what works and what doesn't. And some people will also, last thing I'll say is, do a promotion with someone and it might not pan out, and we can get into this later in the podcast, but social media can sometimes be finicky, and then they just give up on the strategy at all. And it's like, they were almost at that gold rush, you know?
Yeah, what I found, just one sec here. What I found, we're always looking for influencers, but we'd go out and we'd send messages to all these micro
Yeah.
influencers. So people that have started out, they've got they're not nano. Nano is a much smaller base, but in that micro. So I would say, what would you say, between 1,000 to 10,000
Yeah.
followers? Yeah. So 10,000 followers usually at most, and then they got the craze. Like, they've all of a sudden heard that they can make tons of money. They don't really have a lot of, and I'm just saying in general, like, you still have to do your research. They don't have a lot of engagement. They get a lot of emojis, so you can tell, like, it's one word answers or just emojis. So probably a lot of bots. And then they're asking for $500.
Yeah.
And it's just a joke, and people are paying that.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you should, as if you're buying or if you're working with influencers, you should know, the type of budget. And why don't we do that? If you're working with a micro influencer, like you said, you could pay for product, and a lot of people will do this for product, just to get some exposure, and maybe if they like the product, for the product. But what should you be paying? Is there a budget range?
Usually the industry standard is $10 for every 1,000 followers someone has. But you're completely right with making sure to vet influencers before you collaborate with them, because you mentioned, like, it's FTC has kind of cracked down on some of this recently. It's now become illegal, or you can get pretty big fines if you actually buy fake followers, but it's still rampant, and bots are all over all the social media platforms. And so you really want to pay attention to people's engagement rates. And if, for those who don't understand engagement, when a post goes live, people can comment, they can like, they can share that post. What is that amount of engagements or comments or likes comparatively to their follower base, right? And what percentage is there? And larger influencers usually have about a 1% engagement. Micro nano have at least 5%. And you want to make sure that their people do have good engagement levels, because if they don't, it's most likely they have bot followers, or just their audience isn't really engaging. Social media suppress them. And if you end up paying someone a bunch of money, even at that standard rate of $10 for every 1,000 followers, it just might not really pan out, right? And that can put a bad taste in your mouth with influencers in general, where if you do it effectively, you do it in the right way. I mean, some posts you could pay $100 and a post could go viral and make you 100x your money, right? So there's very, very effective ways to do it, but you kind of gotta figure out the right way.
Yeah, and even the type of influencer that you're going to be using. So most of the time, new companies, micro brands. So pretty much anybody on Amazon's a micro brand. You're a smaller brand. You have less of a budget. Although, and most people would go out to those micro influencers. However, I've known, and we've had people on here like Snow, and also BoxyCharm. They were on, so Joe Martin over there, and he ended up just saying, "Okay, I got a big enough budget." Kardashians loved his product, which was bonus, and he just started giving them out to all these high-end celebs, and he ended up selling in a few years his BoxyCharm to Etsy for $500 million. Snow did the same thing with Gronk and a bunch of other influencers. I even think Conor McGregor, I think, was one of them, and they ended up selling very quickly for $100 million. But it was a good product. Both of these were incredible, beautiful, premium products. Most people can't afford that. So let's talk about the benefits of using the micro influencer. Who should use it compared to the celebrity?
Absolutely. So,
or anywhere in between.
sounds good. As you mentioned, it's celebrity endorsements are amazing, right? And can be, sometimes it can be actually very ineffective depending on what product is, who you're promoting it. But a lot of times they're just inaccessible, right? You need a large budget to even get them, or have to have a popular enough brand to actually convince someone to promote it. So the first advantage to the micro and also even nano is that it's just more accessible, right? Someone actually in also the chat just posted about the difficulty with micro nano is management, right?
Mhm.
You do have to deal with a lot more of them, because you just doing 1 or 3 celebrity endorsements when they have millions of followers, you're reaching a lot of people. But if you're dealing with the people with only a few thousand followers, right, you're not going to get a huge amount of sales or a huge amount of external traffic or promotion when you're working with only 3. So you want to scale that up to dozens. There's brands on the Stock Influence platform that do thousands a month, right? So think of that scale, because you aggregate 1,000 people with 10,000 followers, right? You're looking at 10 million reach, right? You're getting that celebrity reach, but you're diversifying that risk across a lot of smaller creators. And you're doing it at a more cost-effective rate, because instead of paying this huge fee, a lot of times these types of creators will do it just for a free product. Other benefits are just authenticity, which has become kind of a buzzword in the social media, but like it is very important in the sense that we've now, as consumers and social media users, just become bombarded by content, right? Like advertisements, promotions, etc., even a lot of influencer stuff. And consumers have become very good at understanding what is curated or what's really real in essence, or authentic. And the micro nano promotions are usually, especially if you're giving them just a free product and not paying them, there's no monetary incentive, right? They're doing it for a product. And so they actually desire the product, and it's like a real testimonial from a consumer. And that, what we've found, is just converts much better. The audience too that they're promoting to a lot of times is much, much more engaged. Like it's their friends, their family, people they know, or someone who's just really passionate following them. And so whereas like celebrity followers might just be doing it because they're attracted to the celebrity or their friends are following the celebrity. So that engaged intent is much higher with these smaller creators. And so if you can aggregate that out, it can be and get that celebrity reach, it can be really effective. But going back to the challenge of managing them, that is a difficulty, right? And that is one reason why we built Stock Influence to be 100% automated, to like solve that pain point for brands, because no one has time to deal with hundreds or thousands of collaborations. As a starting off brand or someone who with a small budget, hire a VA, kind of start DMing some people, start small, right? But if you really want to scale this out, I would usually recommend utilizing some software or some automation system like Stack Influence to actually automate the management of side of things.
So why don't we talk about that for a second? Stack Influence. Can you go into it? Like, why did you start it? What is it all about? What are the pain points it helps take away?
Absolutely. So, as you mentioned at the beginning of the call, I'm also an e-commerce seller and Amazon seller myself. Started a few different brands. Honestly, I started my first brand when I was about 20 years ago now, but sold a few of them, failed a few of them, and Stock Influence was really birthed out of one of those companies, and it was really due to the fact that we found micro nano product seeding collaborations, which is what Stock Influence focuses on, being really, really effective, just influencers in general. And we found the smaller creators were kind of our sweet spot. And for a variety of reasons. One, not only was it more cost effective, and we found that it increased conversions if you scaled it out, but it also enabled us to kind of build up a solid brand foundation of getting content awareness when no one really knew about our products. In that process, though, we faced very similar challenges to most sellers, and we hear this echoed across the entire ecosystem, which was how do we scale it first? Because influencer marketing, first off, doesn't work for every single brand. Like, people have to be willing to promote it on social media, right? You could be selling athlete's foot cream, right? Sell millions of dollars on Amazon, but a lot of people don't want to go on social media and talk about foot fungus, you know? So it
I've promoted treatments for foot fungus, and know anything you want to know about it.
Some people will, and that is the thing, is that there is someone who will promote any single product online. It's just how many people can you get to do that in a specific time frame, right? And it can be also seasonal, right? Like, you might be selling a beach blanket, and you're trying to promote it during the holiday season, and it's only people who are traveling to some warm place or live in a warm place that'd be willing to do that, right? So there's different strategies around it, but the bottom line is, first challenge was scale. And even that, for a brand that everyone wants to promote, sometimes it's hard to find enough people who are willing to do something in a specific time frame. And then the second thing is really automation and management, right? Is you'd think it'd be easy to get someone just simply to post on social media when you give them a product, but making sure they do it in time, getting them the product, making sure they follow specific guidelines that you're looking to have them do. All those things really pose challenges, and it just compounds the more people you work with, especially if you're doing it in a rapid time frame. And so my business partners and I, who were selling e-commerce products at the time, we started to build out our own automations. We hired some engineers. We had already figured out ways with VAs to kind of do it pretty efficiently, but we wanted technology as the best way to scale, right? And we wanted to figure out ways to, first off, find enough people, like tap into social media networks, aggregate quality profiles, analyze those profiles, make sure they're the right fit for a specific brand. And then also, how do you get them products efficiently? How do you make sure posting requirements are conveyed? We started building out a lot of internal tools. And one of the products we were selling kind of went to the wayside. And as we were building up these softwares, a lot of our e-commerce colleagues and friends wanted to get access to what we had built. And we started giving them access, and they were like, we love this. This should literally be a business. And we started literally threw up a website, started promoting it, and within a week had 10 different clients, right? And so we were like, let's take off with this. Let's see where this goes. And that was 6 years ago and since then we've had venture backing, and we're scaling it up. It's become a full-time job.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I'm looking at the comments, and Simon just wrote in there, does David Beckham and the royal family count as a micro-influencer? Incredible enough. So he's got this great brand called Kittymoto, and David Beckham and the royal family have purchased his product. Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I've actually seen a a much younger Simon when he met the Queen. But yeah, that's incredible, and just getting the word out there, and just being able to get exposure. Sometimes you don't know where it's going to be coming from, but again, Simon, micro influencers, get enough of them, they're going to do a good job for you as well. Don't leave that out. Okay, so I got to go to a sponsor, but before we do that, I do want to talk about our Wheel of Kelsey today. It's a really great Wheel of Kelsey. It's a range. It depends on the person that wins the prize, but it could be $500 or it could be $1,500. And William, why don't you mention what you're giving away today?
Yeah, so to sign up for Stack Influence, we have a monthly subscription fee. And so that fee ranges between $450 to $1,500, depending on which plan you do. So today, to a lucky winner, we're going to give a free month off any of those plans. So you'll just have to get in touch with us, let us know what plan you want to do, and then we'll give you that free month off.
All right, very good. So if you're interested in getting and trying out Stack Influence, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Tag two people. You get a second entry. And now let's go to a sponsor.
Start, scale, exit, repeat. I'm Colin C. Campbell, and I've started over a dozen multi-million-dollar companies in the last 30 years. I spent the last 10 years writing the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, to figure out what it is that these serial entrepreneurs do over and over again. We interviewed over 200 people. We created 58 chapters, over 30 illustrations, 180 callouts, and we quite frankly made this book for the ADHD entrepreneur. It's been #1 on Amazon in 15 categories and has won 12 awards globally. Get your book today, either on ebook, paperback, hardcover, or Audible on Amazon or your favorite bookstore.
He does it so much better than me. Colin, also, we were at the event last week. He notified me that he just took #1 position in 4 different categories, including entrepreneurship on Amazon, just out of the blue. He doesn't even know. It's a great book, but these are 4 new #1 spots last week. I wanted to also bring up, this is an ebook. I went out, I bought it. It goes with Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. So if you open it up, there's QR codes, and he's created these GPTs that help you understand and build your business plan. So check it out. You can get the book now, or you can get the workbooks that'll help you and walk you through the business plan, which is really cool. All right, let's get back to it. Okay. Challenges. So I know that I've had challenges working with micro influencers, but it was more in the management side. What are some challenges with managing influencer marketing, specifically micro influencers?
Yeah, so mentioned a few already, but the biggest things are that, first off, actually getting them to, even sometimes shipping them a product. One of the biggest things that I've found is making sure someone posts in general, right? Especially if you're not paying them. So ship out someone a product, you send follow-up requirements, and then what's the recourse if they ghost you, right? And that's a pretty big challenge. And even when you have them sign over agreements, et cetera, because like you're going to sue someone for actually not completing a post, right? So one strategy that we've implemented at Stack Influence to mitigate that is actually finding people who be willing to become a real consumer of your product prior to actually completing a post.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
Yeah. So if you can find someone, whether they're Amazon affiliate or whether they've previously purchased your product, right? Or they may not be a consumer yet, and kind of send them a link to go buy, and then reward them, right? Either monetarily, so whether you've negotiated a specific payment with them. Again, maybe it's $50, $100, or you're just wanting to give them a free product and you want to just reimburse them for their expense. It's a great strategy that we implement at Stack Influence where they bought your product and only give them that money back or that payment if they actually create that final social post, right? And so it mitigates that issue of people end up stealing your product and creates a kind of efficient funnel. That make sense?
Yep, that makes sense. Let's talk. Oh, I'm getting some coffee here. There we go. So let's talk about the importance of external traffic. And so why is that one of the key factors in growth?
Yeah, so this has become more prominent in the past almost 2 years now since Amazon's really updated their algorithm from the A9 to the A10 algorithm. They've started to prioritize external traffic. And at a very fundamental level, it makes a lot of sense, right? Is someone driving some consumer off of Amazon, so meaning like from a search engine, from your website, from an email marketing list, from a social media account to Amazon, that's a new customer for Amazon, right? Amazon loves that. Whereas someone searching on Amazon and buying a product, that's an existing customer. Amazon already knows they have them. So it's an incentive from Amazon to say it's an incentive of Amazon to try to get as much of this new external traffic as possible. And because of that, they've started to prioritize or give benefits to listings that also prioritize that, drive a lot of this external traffic. Second thing besides that factor of Amazon wanting to have new customers and take people away from other channels is there's a cold start problem when someone first launches a product on Amazon. And this is a reality across any search engine or any marketplace. How do you rank a product, right, when you have no data about them? And Amazon's prioritized to have the best selling products at the top. So when someone searches a keyword, right, and you have 43 listings on a first page, does Amazon decide to put a new product up there and maybe that product is horrible and no one wants that product, and they sacrifice this like really popular product that people do want, right? Amazon's now making less money. But what if that new product is really popular and when they put them there, it sells 5 times the amount as that previous listing that was there? Now Amazon's really happy, right? And so it's a really hard problem for any marketplace and any ranking. It's like, what is the quality factors that we can determine right off the bat that is going to tell us that this listing is popular enough to push them up and make them visible to consumers? And external traffic has become a really, really valuable way to do that because you need data, right? You need to figure out when people click into a listing, how many people add that product to a cart, how many people convert. And so when you first launch a product, if you can drive a lot of external traffic, and not all external traffic is treated equally, right? If your external traffic doesn't convert well, it's probably not going to help you in the long run. But if you can have it high converting and provide a positive signal to Amazon that says, hey, this product should be popular if you start giving it traffic and putting it higher up in the search positionings, it creates that flywheel, right? So driving that traffic will then push you up, and then ideally you continue to convert as more organic traffic flows in. So it's really important now more than ever, become a really important factor for driving this external traffic, whether it's a brand new product launch or even an existing listing. And influencers is a great way to do that because a lot of them intent can be very high, so you can get higher conversion rates, which is what Amazon wants.
Okay. All right. So just a reminder again, this is a great giveaway today for the Wheel of Kelsey. And if you're interested, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. All right. Now let's talk about the content. I can speak from experience. We do this all the time. The amount of content that you can get and the way that you can use this content is incredibly affordable. And I just want to talk a little bit about where people can use the UGC.
Absolutely. So on specifically the Amazon side of things, you can use UGC across pretty much all marketing material, but Amazon's produced recently a bunch of great new features that can feature UGC. And for those who don't know what UGC is, it's user generated content. think content produced by real customers, right? So it's authentic, it's real, it's trustworthy. One new feature that Amazon has launched is called the Amazon Post System, which is kind of like almost an Instagram feed of content from your customer base. And generating UGC from influencer collaborations and using it in that Amazon Post System is an amazing way. That's also getting now fed into what Amazon calls the Inspire app, which is kind of like almost like a TikTok, very social feed. Mostly video content there, but it's becoming a more prevalent feature as Amazon and a lot of other platforms try to integrate into the kind of social shopping world, right? TikTok's obviously doing with TikTok Shop. Amazon's not too far behind. And then also just implementing into your normal A+ content, social media initiatives, Amazon advertising or video ads. UGC in some controlled studies has been shown to convert 5 times more than professional content. When I say professional content, you hiring a model in a professional studio with like perfect settings, right? And you have
Polished images.
yeah. And someone with their iPhone taking a selfie or like a selfie video, right, can convert even higher. And that's the power of authenticity, right? Is like people are bombarded by this perfectly curated content now, and they want stuff that's real.
Oh, I had a cough. Okay. Yeah, I got a great example of this as well. So you're always getting different types of images. It could be a really crappy image that works. It could be the ingredients. It could be something on the how-to side. But we had this knife, and we had all sorts of different images. Yeah, cutting, vegetables or meat, unboxing. And then we got this really bizarre one of this, geez, it's hard to even put in without offending too many people. I'll just say this psycho woman. Okay. And she's holding the knife on the tip, and she looks like she's just going to stab you. But we put it up there, and this is a cooking knife, a sharp, like very expensive knife. And she just had this psychotic look in her face. It had 200,000 impressions in 3 days and tons of click-throughs. So this was by far the most engaged, and this is on Amazon. So anybody who's doing posts know that 200,000 impressions over a 3-day period, it's pretty good. But just a surprise. And we just did it for fun, just to see what would happen. We had no idea it would generate that much curiosity. Yet, when we put it on some other platforms to see if we get the same, it didn't do the same.
Yeah, I cannot agree more of how powerful stuff. And to your point, not every social platform or content works across the board, right? And it comes down to how the algorithms are working, what quickly, once you post that, who looks at it, and how that kind of compounds. But the real thing is diversifying and getting content out and just kind of pushing, and something's going to hit for you,
Yeah.
Sometimes not what you expect.
Yeah, and this is another topic. It's down a little bit different rabbit hole, but when you do get this content back, make sure you monitor it, because you'll get these either images, or we'll split videos and just take images from the videos, and we'll publish the videos. We'll publish the images, and find out what people are really looking at. And then you can go back to the influencer and say, this is the style, or this is what we like to see. But the other thing too, that we found is, don't stifle the influencer. Let them be creative. Let them do what they do best. And one other thing from my end is that, and Kelsey's seen this a lot more than me, but the personality. Make sure that your brand lines up with that personality of that influencer, because you could have this very high-end perceived value product, and then you've got it going out with somebody that shouldn't be even near your product. All I say is, just make sure it aligns with the personality of your brand. And that is very important if you want to attract that right audience, or you could just be blowing your money if you're spending any.
Absolutely. All of those factors I echo as well. And part of the challenges of management, right, is like making sure you find the right person, making sure that I absolutely agree, giving people creative control, because you don't know what someone could come up with there in their brain, and you would never think that to convey it. But at least kind of once you start figuring out what works for your brand, whether that's in ads or promotions, kind of coming back to the influencers and giving them guidelines to push them in the right direction to make that a bit more curated and making sure they post in time. So I cannot agree more with all of those statements, Norm.
Okay. And do you find that people, when they use your platform, are they repurposing and editing the videos so they can get much more out of the content that they have?
Absolutely, yes. So we, using Stack Influence, we deal with the legal logistics to have the influencers sign over rights to all of the content, right? So you can now manipulate it, repurpose it, etc. But we've seen more often than not now, and brands getting amazing results by combining a lot of the content, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with the micro nano, you get a lot of content, like creating grids of different pieces, right? And showing all these different, a diversity of different ethnicities and genders and demographics of different types of people, all utilizing your product, right? It can be really, really powerful, splicing different videos together, or just even using that single piece. But the combination, there's a lot of actually now some AI tools that are pretty cool where you can feed in some content and it'll kind of splice it all together, make some curation on it. And those are things that we're actually have plans to integrate into the platform. But right now, we just recommend a few different things to brands to utilize.
So your company already does all the legal side of things, but let's talk about it. What if you're not using your platform? What are the legalities of having an influencer create some product, some content for you? Are you allowed to go and post it everywhere?
No, you need to have someone sign over actual legit rights. And a lot of times influencers, depending on who you're dealing with, will charge you for that, right? They're not going to do that for free. Also put restrictions on where you can use it and how long you can use it, right? So maybe you can only use that content on social media or for a year, right? A lot of different restrictions that can be in place, and you will have to buy certain rights a lot of the time from these influencers. So it can be somewhat of a headache to actually deal with getting rights to that content, even though you've paid them to do a promotion, right? But it's only one piece of the puzzle.
And believe me, I know a lot of people in the industry, and it's much cheaper to pay up front than for the influencer to find out and come after you.
Definitely.
And it's not right. Just you've got to have some integrity and some morals. This is what the influencer does. This is how they make their money. And if you try to screw them out of that money, you're going to pay for it if they find you, and they will. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. What was the other thing about the legal side? The time limit was one. That is another thing that you brought up, the time limit. People don't realize that's a question to ask. So, how long can you use it? What platforms can you use it for? Are you even allowed to use it? Because it just might be on the influencer's platform. So these are a lot of headaches that by using a platform like yours, you get it. You can split it. You can edit a variety of different influencers together, which we like doing. I think that shows diversity, and it shows a lot of you can be so much more creative.
I cannot agree more.
Yeah. Let's go to a couple of questions. First of all, I just want to address something about what Simon was saying, and I think, William, you'll be on the same line with me when we talk about A10 algorithm. When you mentioned that the A10 is really just revisions to the A9, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there. From what I understand, Simon, there's not an A10. A lot of people talk A10. because of revisions, but it really is just an extension. It's A9. It's just, new things that come out with A9.
Yeah, that's exactly.
All right, Kels. Yeah, he's so professional.
All right. So our
Okay.
first question is from Simon, or a statement. The TikTok influencer program helps to simplify, but you still need to manage these folks and what they're creating. Do you have any experience with TikTok Shop and what people are doing there?
Yeah. So TikTok Shop can be very effective, right? And you're dealing with an integrated solution. So you're an e-commerce marketplace within the actual social media platform, right? And so a lot of like links are integrated directly in there. TikTok's become, I mean, they're taking massive market share away from Amazon, even though Amazon still completely dominates. But and we'll see how they're actually in court this week. So we'll see how that pans out, if they actually get banned from the US, or maybe even Amazon decides to buy them out. Will be interesting to see how the cookie crumbles in the next upcoming months and also years with TikTok. But I always recommend sellers try to dabble with it because it's a brand new marketplace. It's like an open playing field for the most part. It can be really effective. You are competing with a lot of international sellers if you're a US seller, who a lot of times can beat you out on product cost to like a bit cheaper costs. So, but at the same time, they're cutting fees right now to get started. So it's pretty affordable to get going with the TikTok, and I recommend it.
Have you dealt with, or have you been playing around at all with the Walmart influencer program?
Yeah, we haven't dove in super deep into it, but I'm definitely aware, and they've been trying to build that up more and more recently. Specifically, I'm doing a decent job with it. Both Amazon and Walmart, they're great platforms to tap into the influencer programs on both, because very similarly, like the people want to promote these products, and most of them are doing it in an affiliate commission way. So it's a lot of times pretty low risk for a seller to entice someone to actually promote it. Walmart's becoming more popular than ever on our platform recently because people are kind of still trying to diversify away from Amazon, even though that's where most of their money comes from. But
I've said it for years, but Walmart, especially now, is growing. And if you're not on that platform, you're gonna miss out. Take advantage of TikTok, take advantage of Amazon, but don't leave out something that. And there are brands that TikTok or Walmart is just not for them.
Yep.
But those other brands, I don't mind getting an extra 10, 20, 30, or in some cases now, if you talk to Mikhail Chapnik, you'll see that some brands are actually surpassing their Amazon sales on Walmart. It just depends on the category.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's less search traffic, right? But less competition. So and Amazon has become so saturated. So like, to your point, if you have the right product, like you might be making a lot more money on Walmart just because you now have visibility that you never achieve on Amazon's competitive marketplace. And the extra benefit we've been seeing a lot of sellers find is that Walmart has in-store placement, right? And they use the marketplace to test and determine what those PO orders are going to be and where they're going to actually place you in store. And so if you can really perform on Walmart, all of a sudden you might just get a huge PO order, and Walmart's buying a whole bunch of products to put in store for you, which you don't have that benefit with Amazon,
Yeah, and you could be selected. I was talking to I went to Ecom North up here, and I was talking to Walmart Canada, and they were talking about their in-store selection process, and it starts right here on Walmart.com.
Yeah.
So who knows? You might get an invitation, depending on your conversions, to actually go down and have an interview with the buyers. So that's
Totally.
pretty cool. But, like this podcast always does, we're down different rabbit holes. Okay, so we're coming up to the top of the hour. Anything else that you like to talk about influencer-wise or Stack influence-wise?
We covered a lot, which is fantastic. But yeah, just that I think everyone should be using influencers. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but
A little.
it's a very effective strategy, whether you're just starting out and you need to build your brand or you're already established and really trying to scale. And it's only going to become more prevalent, and we're only going to see more e-commerce marketplaces and social platforms kind of becoming one, right? That's social shopping, which the Asian markets have already really dove into, like live shopping and social shopping. Like they're almost light years ahead of the US. But US is rapidly catching up, and same thing with Europe. And so it's going to be more important than ever to figure out what works for your brand, because different strategies will work. Figuring out what tools are most efficient for you, or if you need to build out something internally, and really scaling it out and doing things not just on a one-off basis, but building out kind of a longer term ambassador affiliate community that will consistently promote your brand. And there's just so many success stories out there. Like you mentioned a few of like Snow and many other brands that have literally getting bought out for hundreds of millions of dollars because of their influencer strategy, and because they got their product into the hands of the right people. The last thing I'll leave with is influencers are no different from what I say is word of mouth marketing, right? And it's the oldest form of marketing and most effective form of marketing that has ever existed. Is you trust people around you, and social media just has compounded that. It's connected us in new ways, but it's really just a trustworthy recommendation from an acquaintance or a friend, right? And if you can scale that out, you can make a lot of money.
And it's not going anywhere. The people that jumped on this a couple of years ago are reaping the benefits, and they'll continue to reap the benefits. So I would highly suggest, don't be nervous, reach out, try to do it, use a platform like Stack Influence so that you can manage it a lot better, and see how it goes. Let us know how it goes. So William, if somebody wanted to start using your app, how would they do it?
So you can go to stackinfluence.com, sign up right on the website. Very easy onboarding process. You can shoot me a personal email. I'd be happy to kind of walk you through. My email is william@stackinfluence.com. You can find us on all social media accounts as Stack Influence or @StackInfluence. But yeah, the website or sending me an email is probably the best ways to get in touch.
Okay, very good. All right, last chance. If you're interested in the $500 to $1,500 prize today, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry, and you're only got about 30 seconds, so do it quick. All right, let's go to our last sponsorship, or our last sponsor, and then we'll come back with the wheel.
Hey, Amazon sellers, ever faced account suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon account's guardian. With just $99 per month, or code NORM, you'll get it for $89 per month. Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys. There's no long-term contracts, and you can cancel with just a month's notice. View Seller Basics as your Amazon account's health plan, and you can check them out at sellerbasics.com. All right, now it's time for the disclaimers. Seller Basics is not an insurer or law firm. Consultations come from independent firms, results may vary, and membership is needed before events leading to claim. Oh yeah, and terms apply.
There we go. I don't know. Isn't that weird to cut off all my S's? I'm listening to that. Usually we do this live. I'm listening to it and I go, oh, it's cutting off my S's. We're going to have to check with Kelsey about that. It's really, what's going to be interesting is our next podcast. I think it's there's a tool that we use, just another AI tool that we pump this through to make sure that the quality of the voice goes through. And it's just me. I didn't even have to say anything, but it's an AI thing. And this is AI Wednesday, by the way, but using an AI tool actually took the S's off the end, which is weird.
AI doesn't like S's.
Yeah. So let's get to the wheel.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
All right.
Okay, so thank you everyone who entered today's Wheel of Kelsey. I'm going to shuffle these up. If you are the winner, please email me kate@lunchwithnorm.com and we'll connect you with William. And it looks like Simon is our winner.
All right.
So Simon, if you could please email me kate@lunchwithnorm.com. We'll connect you with William, and congratulations.
The perfect winner. So I know Simon's product. We talked a little bit about it. Yeah, the perfect winner, William. So can't wait. Simon, let us know how everything's going when you use the app as well. Okay. Well, thank you, William, for coming on the show today. I'm going to put you in the back room. We'll get back to you in a second.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, Norm.
All right. Talk to you soon. And I hope everybody enjoyed today's show about influencers. We talk about influencers once in a while on the show. And just to remind you, it's something everybody should be doing. I don't care what industry you're in, what niche. This is something you should be. There's an influencer that can work in any industry. So let's bring Kelsey back on.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. And as Simon said, awesome. Thanks. I'll be the perfect tester.
Yeah.
And also, we didn't mention it at the beginning, but our latest issue of the Lunch with Norm newsletter is out. You can go check it out at lwn.news, and you can sign up there. And thanks everyone for joining. Steve, Simon, Marina, Russ. Great to see everyone. Brian, thanks for joining us in the chat. And I think that's about it.
Okay, so I think that's it. This is our first week back. We're going to be away again next week. I'm traveling with Kevin to another event. But it's great to be back. And it's so weird when you're doing this live again. It's almost like doing your first podcast all over again, getting back in the hot seat. But, it's always fun doing a podcast live. I always wait for my bloopers, and, a couple happened today. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. But it's our community, and that's what counts. We love our community. This podcast wouldn't be available without our community. And we have 4 different ways that you can join. 1 is just listen to the podcast. 2, you can sign up for the newsletter, lwn.news. And 3, join the WhatsApp group. And 4, it's the Facebook group. All right. As I mentioned, we couldn't do this without you, and we look forward to doing this podcast next Wednesday.
Lunch with Norm.